Hey everybody, Pastor Matt here. But tonight we're going to do a really short video. I'm going to try to keep it under 2 minutes. We'll see if I can do that. I might have to do push-ups if I go beyond that. So anyways, tonight we're doing a topic that's been requested by one of you guys on maturity. So essentially there's a number of ways for people to grow and to mature. There's a saying that is, I never want to change. How many of you guys hear that? Like, I never want to change. Well, the problem is that we're always changing all the time. Every decision and indecision that we make, we're always changing and we're always growing. Hopefully we're growing for the good. And so we can't determine whether or not we change, but we can determine what direction that we change in. This is a continual process throughout our lives. You don't just get through middle and high school and it stops. It's throughout your entire life. I'm still growing and changing. And there's a church word for this. It's also called discipleship. So changing, growing, maturity, and again, the church word is discipleship. As Christians, we're called by God, the one who made us and who has gifted us with life, to not only grow and mature, but to be disciples, ultimately disciples of Jesus. Now, a disciple ultimately becomes like the person who's teaching them. So my question for you is, what are you becoming, or what are you growing into? When we grow into something in a certain direction. So think of like a tree. When you plant it, it's small, and it starts growing in a certain direction. And ultimately, it will take up space that it didn't previously need as it grows and it matures. So the direction that we grow in helps us to know what we're maturing into. We're considered mature if our lives, while still unique, start to be modeled after something. So one ideal could be what is socially acceptable. So for example, maybe you don't eat quite as messy as you used to when you went out to eat in public when you were 2 years old. Hopefully you've matured in that sense. Or maybe another one could be at school in your grades. Perhaps you started off not being able to study well. You didn't have good grades there, and so hopefully you matured. Now, if you've gone backwards in that, then that's something that you need to exercise discipline in and be able to continue to grow. So whether you're growing into something that's socially acceptable, like a socially acceptable eater, or a good competent student, or simply as someone who just needs more self-control, you're maturing into something. You're maturing into someone. Ultimately, we model our life based off of our ideals. So some people sell themselves short by having very low standards or low ideals for themselves. I would encourage you not to do that. My encouragement for you is to find the highest imaginable ideal, and that ideal is Jesus. Whether you look at his teachings or his way of life, there is no ideal that's anywhere near comparison to Jesus. So what are you maturing into? And if you're maturing into something, why not mature into Jesus? This is not an easy task by any means, but it is worth it. Best things in life are shared, and this journey is no different. Jesus has promised us that the Holy Spirit is there in this journey with us to help us along in this journey. It is through the power and the help of the Holy Spirit that we're able to mature into someone who looks like or has the character of Jesus. Romans chapter 8 verse 11 says, "The Spirit of God who raised Jesus from the dead lives in you. And the same God who raised Jesus Christ from the dead would give life to your mortal bodies if that same Spirit is living in you." In short, this means that the Holy Spirit is willing and able to help you mature, especially in the areas that are most important. So I don't know how you feel today, and even though we might be weak or immature today, by the grace and the help of God and by the Holy Spirit, we can grow and be strong and mature. And our lives will be well spent.